Hello and welcome to the Downsized. My name is Christopher Durham, and this is our weekly opportunity to interview viewers and GLP-1 users just like you. Today, I'm excited to welcome John. Hello, John.
Hi there.
So before we jump in, let's do all the obligatories. First of all, of course, I'm not a doctor. John's not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just two guys talking about their weight loss journeys. So if you need help with your weight loss, with your health and wellness, with your medical conditions at all, please talk to your doctor and get the help that you need there. I also like to say, please like and subscribe, hit the bell so that it alerts you every time we publish a video, because we do this every day. Again, this is our Downsized Dish series where we interview people who are using GLP-1s to lose weight and get their health back. And it's a great opportunity to learn something from everybody in the world. So it's great to have John on. Well, John, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 72 years old. In January, I'll be 73. I live just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, in one of the suburbs. I've spent my whole life here in one or the other of the suburbs around Cleveland. I'm second time married, and first time was not so great, but the second one has turned out to be just fantastic.
That's awesome.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I had a great career as an IT professional, over 40 years. The last 35 of those were with the biggest bank in Ohio. I retired at 62 when they changed my job description. So I'd be the guy that gets called at 3:00 in the morning.
Oh, no.
And that's fine when you're in your 30s and 40s, but when you're 62 years old, didn't woke up at 3:00 in the morning, having to think on your feet immediately, I just said, that's enough of that. And fortunately, with good investments and some good advice from my investment counselors, I was able to retire. My wife worked another few years. Now she's retired as well. And we really enjoy traveling. We've traveled to many, many of the countries in Europe, lots of the states in the U.S., and we traveled when we were big, and now we're traveling when we're not so big.
Well, so that's that's a perfect lead in. So talk to me about your weight loss journey. Have you always been big, or what's your story there?
So even as a kid, I was bigger than my friends, but not huge. I would wear the husky men's clothes, or not men's, but boys' clothes.
Sure.
But I was active. I played baseball with the kids in the neighborhood. I played flag football. In high school, coaches every year wanted me to try out for the football team. They wanted me to be a lineman because I had that build, broad shoulders, thick, muscular, I'd say. But it's not in my nature. I knew as a lineman, I'd be knocking guys down all the time, and then I'd try to pick them up afterwards. You can't do that.
No.
So my passion's been bowling, of all things. I love bowling. I've been bowling since I was 10 years old. I bowled with my dad in his league. I still bowl. I'm in 2 leagues now. In high school, I was on the varsity bowling team. So when I graduated, I got a nice letter with a little bowling pin in the corner.
That's fun.
And it was college when I really put weight on. They talk about the freshman 15. With me, it was more like 50. And so for the first time, I went on a very strict diet. At that time, there was this thing called the water diet. It was just water and meat.
Water and meat. Yeah, you'll lose weight doing that.
And sure, I lost weight, but man, it did a number on my internals. But I did get to, at one point I was about 20 years old and probably about 185. It's the lowest I've ever been in my adult life.
So how tall are you?
I am now 5'8", but at one time I was 5'11".
Gotcha.
Gravity does its thing.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
I got married the first time when I was 22, and on my wedding day, I remember I was 205. I was, and throughout the course of my life, more than the number on the scale, what I kind of looked at was my waist size. What clothes was I wearing?
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I'm sure I wore a 40-inch waist. In my lifetime, I've gone as high as a 60-inch waist. And I probably weighed close to 380 at that point.
All right.
I've done Weight Watchers over the years. I've done any number of different diets over the years. I did it during my first marriage. I did it when I was in between marriages. When I remarried in 2009, Karen and I did Weight Watchers together. So I have this history of gaining and losing 50, 60 pounds in a year or 2 years time.
Yeah.
Talk about yo-yo. Probably the biggest thing that made us really hold on, we got to do something. I had a cousin. I have relatives in Europe. My family came from the old country. I was the firstborn here in America. They grew up during the war, and World War II, that is. So there was a little bit of deprivation and not having things, some hardship. So when they came to America, it was like, no, you're going to we're going to make sure that you've got all the food you want. Mom was a good cook. She loved to bake. And so there was always bakery in the house. There was always cookies, all special occasions. So I learned how to love those things. Anyways, one of my cousins, a cousin that lived in Austria, died suddenly. Karen and I had just visited with them in 2010, the year after we got married. He was hearty and healthy at that time, but he just keeled over dead.
That was scary.
We learned he had an aneurysm. When I learned specifically what kind of aneurysm it was, one of my daughters is a cardiac echo person. So she scans people, the cardiologist. And she said that kind of aneurysm can be genetic. I should get tested. Got tested and found out I indeed have an aneurysm. It's not big, but we're keeping it under control. And the doctor said, really, the best thing you can do is lose weight. I'm sure at that time I was around 350. So in 2014, Karen and I both had bariatric surgery.
Wow. At the same time?
No, we spaced them 2 months apart.
Still, that's pretty close. But you were still in recovery, one of you.
She was first.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I had mine, she was already much better. In a year, from the time we had her surgery till the end of 2014, I think I lost close to 100 pounds. I got down to around 235. And I think Karen was around 270, I think. And she probably got down to about 180, perhaps. She's not here. I don't know the exact numbers. I just know we both lost a lot of weight. But as you've heard before with people that have had bariatric surgery, it didn't take long to figure out how to get around it.
Right.
When we were preparing for the surgery, we had consultations with doctors, and they would tell us, this is the better way to eat. This is what you should focus on. They talked about head hunger versus true hunger.
Right.
The bariatric sleeve surgery that we had takes away part of your stomach that creates something called ghrelin. And ghrelin is the thing that triggers your brain to say, I'm hungry. So technically, we weren't You didn't get that growling. You didn't get that pang. But in your head, you knew, well, I know where the cookies are. I know where the cake is. I know where the bread is. I know where just, you still had that nagging, I want to eat. You still enjoy food. It still tastes great. So even though our tummies wouldn't let us eat a lot at every meal, you could still eat 5-6 times during the day. So slowly, we're both putting pounds back on. She actually regained more weight than I did. I probably got back to about 285. Again, talking about waist size. At my lowest after the surgery, I got down to a 42-inch waist. By the time we realized it's time to do something else again, I had gotten back up to, I think, a 50. I was up to 285. Karen said she was up to 250, I think. We're on Medicare. And with Medicare, you can have a yearly wellness visit. What we used to call yearly checkups, under Medicare, they call a wellness visit. And it was at one of those wellness visits that my doctor said that he had patients that were taking these new class of drugs that were developed for diabetes first and then weight loss. So he said if I was willing to start it, he'd be more than happy to write me a prescription. So that was in July of 24, a little over a year.
So did you have comorbidities that Medicare would cover it, or have you been paying cash?
So let's talk about health. In 95, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
Okay.
I was literally falling asleep at work. You'd be talking to me and I would just doze off. And finally, enough people came to me and said, look, you got to do something about this. So I was tested, and yes, I have apnea. So I've been using a CPAP machine for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the 2000s, on 2 separate occasions, I did something to tear ligaments in my knees, both knees, not at the same time, but at different times. So both knees have had a little bit of surgery. When you do that, that introduces arthritis. So now back to the time of GLP. At that time, I was getting regular shots in my knees, cortisone shots. Medicare allows for a shot every 3 months. And I was regularly getting those shots to relieve the pain in my knees. The sleep apnea, it was okay with using the CPAP machine, but it's odd when you can't take a nap. If you try to take a nap in the afternoon without the CPAP machine, it's useless. It's just not going to work. So we paid out of pocket, both of us, that first month. He mentioned that he knew people that were finding other ways to get the drug. He says, you're a smart guy. You know the internet. I'm sure you'll figure it out. He wasn't going to tell me where to go.
Yeah. No, a lot of local doctors are like that. They're
exactly
to give out some of that information. Yeah.
So it didn't take long before we learned about mochi. And so we were for a while getting compounding drugs. That helped a lot with the cost. Then earlier this year, we learned that if you have sleep apnea, Medicare would pay for it. So I went back to the doctor, he had to rewrite the prescription to now say it was for sleep apnea. And now I'm getting the regular Zepbound in the pen from CVS. Karen is continuing to get her compounded drugs from Mochi.
Gotcha.
And she's had great success. She's lost almost 90 pounds. I've lost about 55.
Awesome. Let's take a look. Tell me about your pictures.
So the picture on the left is from Scotland. We took one of her daughters and one of my granddaughters with us to Scotland. So this was just before, literally a month before we started taking our medications. The picture on the right was just a few months ago in August. We were vacationing in Tennessee, and someone took a photo of us together. Since then, we've both lost a few more pounds. And this was just about a month and a half ago in Croatia. In October, I think we were in the last week of September and the first 2 weeks of October, we were in Croatia. Beautiful country.
Yeah. We haven't been, but I'd love to go.
Oh, it really is. We were lucky enough to be part of a tour that I had learned about, and it was just the two of us and a tour guide.
Wow.
So it was fantastic. I mean, they did a great job. They catered to us. They drove us everywhere, so I didn't have to drive. They picked out the hotels for us to stay in every spot. It was great. We had a great time. And so, yeah, I mean, she loves that picture. She says that's the best picture anyone's ever taken of her.
Well, she looks pretty good here.
Well, that's our wedding day.
We're looking young and crispy there. Yeah.
That was April of 2009. So that's before our bariatric surgery, obviously. We met online dating in 2007. In the course of dating, I'm sure we both gained some pounds. You know, you go out to eat, you go to a movie, you go out to eat, whatever. So on our wedding day, gosh, I don't even know what I bet I was wearing size 54, 4-inch waist, probably. She was able to find a wedding dress on the internet. We gained a few more pounds after that. And then, like I said, the wake-up call happened when I learned about my aneurysm, and we had our surgeries in she actually had hers in November of 13, and mine was in January of 14. Gotcha. So all throughout the year of 2014, we were slowly losing weight, and then after that, learning how to put it back on.
I hear that story over and over again. So here's your chart that you sent. Let's see here. Let's do it this way. There we go.
Better?
Yeah. Talk to me about this.
Well, I got to put my reading glasses on.
Yeah. So it looks like this is your progress from July through October. And you went from 281 to 226.2.
Which is what I weighed this morning.
Right.
The last month or so, I've sort of been bobbing up and down between the 226 and 228. And then I weigh myself every day.
Right.
I just have gotten in the habit of, I'm only going to record it in, I use MyFitnessPal as a tracking app. I only record it when there's a loss lower than the last time I recorded it.
Gotcha.
But instead of sending you a note with 100 things on it, I wanted to focus on either the end of a month or the beginning of a month.
Makes sense.
So you can see the progression there. You know, it was pretty rapid at first, which is what I'm sure you've heard from everybody.
Yeah.
And then slowing down. I think where I am now, it's about 20% of my starting weight.
Okay. So you're doing great. And you're using Zepbound, tirzepatide. That's what you're using.
And I'm up to the 15.
Okay. So what was your progression like?
Nobody said how to handle it. So I kind of went up every month.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people do. And Lily still recommends that. So it kind of is what it is.
There might have been a month or two where I stayed the same, whether it was 7, 5, or 10. I don't remember, but I've been on 15 for quite some time.
Yeah. How is it working for you now?
I think it's still, as many of your guests have said, if you're not gaining, you're winning. My doctor, I had another wellness visit in July of this year. He was very happy with the results. We talked about what would be sort of a likely end. He suggested maybe another 20 pounds because I am a big guy. I'm always going to be a big guy.
All right.
I just have that build. My joke is I come from peasant stock back in the old country. We were farmers. We pulled plows. You know, there's no skinny minis in our family. So, and I do have a lot of excess skin. You can't do this to your body going up and down, up and down, up and down all the time and not pay the price for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have 10, 15 pounds of excess skin. At my age, I don't really care about that. I'm not going to win any beauty contests, that's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes we see people who have problems with it and they're chafing and they're having real issues with the overlapping skin, and they're able to get some surgeries done because of it's causing medical issues. But if it's just aesthetic and you don't care, move on. That's mine.
Thank goodness there's a little bit of chafing, but I can easily manage that. It's not big of a deal. Thankfully, I have had very few side effects.
That's great.
The only thing I don't think it's all in my head. I think that the day after I have a shot, that night I have trouble sleeping.
No, we hear sleep conversations all the time, so that doesn't surprise me.
Karen, when we first started the medicines, she did have some problems with nausea, just queasiness. She never threw up, I don't think, but it was noticeable. She did have a few stomach issues. As time's gone on and as she's kind of gotten used to it, that really goes away. What she notices is the day after the shot, she can barely eat. If she can have a few bites of something, that's about all she can handle. That hasn't really happened to me. I can still eat a fair amount, but not in excess, obviously, because it's working.
Right.
But the best thing is that head hunger that we talked about after our surgery, what we now call food noise, that's gone.
That's huge.
People that know me know that I've been on Weight Watchers for literally decades. And I've told any number of folks, there's still people that are like, well, aren't these drugs dangerous? And aren't you worried? And all this. Says, look, I'm doing exactly what I did when I was on Weight Watchers. The drug just helps you stay on track and avoid the temptations that derailed me in the past. And it's no different. With Weight Watchers, you learn a proper way to eat. You learn to read labels. You learn the meaning of protein. You learn all the things you should be doing. But while you're doing that, you still have this nagging, I'm depriving myself.
Yep.
I'm purposefully not eating things that I really want to have. With the drug, all of that temptation, if you want to call it, is gone. And that's the thing that I marvel at. And we follow, of course, your channel, and so we're hearing all the time about. Seems like every drug company in the world is coming up with their new version of this.
That's right.
I'm absolutely convinced that at some point there's going to be, whether it's the gentleman you talked to the other day, there's going to be techniques, medicines, whatever, for those of us that did the GLP. Now we're at a point where we just want to stay there.
Yeah, so we talked to the Fractal CEO the other day. If you haven't watched that interview, he's a fascinating guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah, whether he can pull that science off, I have no idea. But it's super exciting that he's trying.
It's amazing what we've learned in the last 10 years or so. You hear more and more about the link between your gut and your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And for years and years, doctors would say, that's a bunch of nonsense. There's no connection whatsoever. Oh, yes, there is. There absolutely is a connection. Whatever a person's done in their lifetime, to like the doctor you had the other day,
Mm-hmm.
something happened during your life that disconnected or corrupted, if that's the right word, that connection between your brain and your mind. So you don't stop when you're supposed to stop. You don't have that signal that says you're full. You don't need any more.
Yep.
Whether it was because of the foods you ate when you were younger or emotional things that happened in your past.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
For whatever reason, the disconnect is there. It's real. It's a real thing. And any kind of tool that will help get past that, it's worth investigating. And I'm just so glad that this came along.
Yeah, so are we. I mean, so talk to me because, so your second wife and you guys, it sounds like, have been on this kind of weight loss, health and wellness journey pretty much your entire marriage, right? Yeah. So how has that been doing this together and now doing GLP-1s together? How has that been for you?
Well, we were big when we met.
Mm-hmm.
We were big when we got married, and we made the decision together to do something drastic, which we did. We literally got cut open and had parts of our body taken out. I'll tell you a little diversion. After my surgery, when I was recovering, my doctor came in to make sure everything was okay. And he went out of his way to say, your liver looked great. Because one of the concerns is fatty liver.
Oh, yeah.
That people have a fatty liver disease. But he said, no, you had no signs of it. Your liver's in good shape, which among so many things that can happen when you're obese, that's a major concern. So yeah, we went through the process of losing weight after our surgeries. We went through the whole process of regaining. The being on the GLP again. Like I said, we love to travel. So one of the things that it's caused a little bit of issue, you're in another country. One of the things you love to do when you're visiting another country is try the foods from that country.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find, oh, gee, I just can't eat that. Or, that's more, even though their portion sizes are so much smaller than ours, what we ended up doing so many times is ordering one thing and splitting it.
Well, saving money there. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that was kind of how we got around it. But it's been great. Our families have been very happy for our results. Like I said, Karen's doing great. We just see this, both of us, as a lifetime. We know that people are always asking on the different forums, well, when can I quit? How do I quit? What should I do after? As far as we're concerned, we're going to take something for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Like you would if you had a heart ailment or a kidney ailment or any kind of problem. You're just going to have to take that medicine.
Well, and so to that, how is your sleep apnea now?
I still use the CPAP machine. I think more than anything because I'm used to it. But I know that my sleep is better. My knees, I mentioned before, the pain, that's all gone. It's amazing how much better my knees are, my back, the issues that I've had. I started a personal training, fitness trainer at a local gym once a week. So besides the exercise I do there, he's basically showing me how to use the machines properly. Like I said, I bowl twice a week. All of that, I don't think I could have done before, but now it's doable.
And do you think it's all a function? Because I get this question all the time. Well, is it just because you lost the weight, or is it because the medication is also doing other things, inflammation or other things?
Well, there's no doubt that the medicine helps in so many ways. As you've had people on, it clears up inflammation. It helps with kidney function. It helps with the proper burning of insulin and all these other things. But the main thing is getting the weight off. I think in my case, taking that stress off my knees and my back, to continue using the CPAP machine, Medicare requires me to see I can't think of her. It's like a respiratory therapist, a doctor, every year. And she continues to say, yes, he's using the CPAP machine and it's working. When I saw her this time, it was the first time I'd seen her since I started the drug. So when we talked, she said, I can't help but notice you've lost all this weight. What are you doing? And I told her that I'm using Zepbound. And she said that she prescribes that for her patients a lot.
Yeah.
The words she used is, this is a life-changing drug. And that really sunk in when she said that. I came away from that going, she's absolutely correct. It is life-changing. I can't even imagine the trajectory that both of us were on. I'm sure I'd be back over 300 pounds by now. And just in pain, going up and down stairs, walking around. My bowling would have been affected. The time I spend with my grandkids, all these little things that people take for granted when you're smaller. When you're big, it just impacts everything. Our travel. We traveled for so many years with the extension on the seatbelt because a normal seatbelt didn't fit. The last 2 trips that we've taken, not a problem. We fit perfectly in those seats. For a while, we were flying on Southwest because they had a policy where you could buy an extra seat.
Right.
So we'd sit with the extra seat between us because we both needed the extra space. Not anymore.
Yeah, for us, travel is just huge. You know that. I mean, we're doing it all the time. It's just so much easier, and so it's just crazy. It is. And yeah, Croatia, that's a long flight. It's a long flight.
Actually, so what we did, it was a 2-week tour of Croatia that we'd set up with this tour group. But to fly into Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, was kind of expensive. So I've been to Europe many times, and I do all the planning usually. So I just went on Google Flights and said, okay, so where can we fly just to get into Europe, a place that we've never been before at a reasonable price? And up came Amsterdam.
We love Amsterdam. It's a great city.
So we flew into Amsterdam. We stayed there for 3 days. And then from Amsterdam, we flew into Zagreb for a very low price. Those European, within Europe flights are very inexpensive. And then we started our tour. We flew home from Dubrovnik to Frankfurt, back to the States. So yeah, it was a little bit of Amsterdam and then a lot of Croatia. And Croatia is just a beautiful, beautiful country. Both of my parents were born in Yugoslavia.
Okay.
A country that doesn't exist anymore. Since the breakup in the 90s, the area where mom is from is Croatia. The area where dad was from is now Serbia. But at that time, it was all Yugoslavia. Before World War I, that area was part of the Austria-Hungary Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 1700s, the emperor at the time wanted more German people to move into that area, to develop the farmlands and things like this. So there were hundreds of thousands of German-speaking people living along the Danube River in what's now Croatia, Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary. With World War II, anybody that was German speaking, even if they had a name that sounded German, you kind of no longer wanted. So mom's family and my dad's family were both refugees after the war. They met in a refugee camp in Austria. And then from there, they came to the States, and then I was born in 1953.
Oh. So let's see here. You talked about you've done diets all your life. Well, what do you guys eat now that you're doing the GLP-1s and you're down? What does eating look like?
So we hardly ever go out. This is something that we did a lot before we did the GLPs. We would go out for breakfast on Saturday morning. We might go out for dinner one night during the week. You're in a rush, so you pick up something at the restaurant, bring it home for lunch. We did that quite a bit. Now we cook almost all the time. And I'm, I guess, lucky in that I don't mind eating the same thing a lot. So I kind of have the same breakfast most every day. It'll be one egg and the same amount of an egg in an egg white or egg beater. So in essence, 2 eggs, a little bit of ham perhaps, and mixed in with vegetables. I like it with peppers or onions or something like that mixed in. I make a little omelet. That's breakfast. For lunch, I eat a lot of canned fish. I don't mind sardines, herring, salmon. Canned fish is great. It's usually around 3 or 4 ounces, 15 to 25 in some cases.
Yeah, it's very trendy now. You can buy a lot. You can get a lot of like high-end sardines and all kinds of stuff from around the world.
Yes, you can. Portugal, which is one of our favorite countries. We visited
Love Portugal too. Yeah,
3 times. They are wonderful at making canned fish. So I get a lot of that. I might have that for lunch. I might have canned chicken, or from Aldi, you can get these chicken strips that are grilled, and you just weigh out 3 or 4 ounces of that. Our food scale is our friend. We use the food scale all the time, measure out everything. You don't guess how much am I eating. You know for a fact how much you're eating. Try to get into vegetables. The only snack I might have is in the evening, I'll have a portion of cottage cheese with a little bit of the vanilla flavored protein powder.
Okay.
You mix that together and it's almost like ice cream. I'll have a little fruit with that, whether it's blueberries or peach pieces. That's my snack. Karen sometimes will buy pre-made salads. She, like I said, she cooks, so a lot of times she'll make something from just out of the freezer. She has more trouble putting meals together than I do because I'm a little more, like I said, I can eat the same thing all the time.
Right.
She likes her variety. But our portion sizes are teeny tiny. You know, time after time, we'll put stuff on our plate and then realize I can't finish. So you put aluminum or a wrap around it, put it in the fridge, and have it the next day for lunch. We did that a lot on our trip in Croatia. Even though we would split something, we'd end up with a little bit left over. So you take it home and have it for breakfast the next day.
Makes a lot of sense. So you said you started out pretty fast, but you've kind of slowed down now. So talk to me about that. Have you had stalls or anything along the way, or how has that gone for you?
Things were, I would say that, well, I mean, you could see from the numbers that you had up there, I was probably losing at least 2 pounds a month, 2 to 3 up until about the last month or so. And the last month, it's really kind of stopped. The last real loss I had was at the end of October. So all through November, I've been bouncing up and down, bouncing up and down. Probably I need to cut back on calories a little bit, step up the exercise a little bit. But here's the thing. I'll just call 225 for a round number. I haven't been 225 since I was 30 years old. At one point, my doctor, and I've been so lucky, I've seen the same, not the same doctor, but the same practice since I was in high school. The original doctor I saw in high school, when he retired, another doctor took over. I saw him for over 30 years. When he retired, another doctor took over. I've been seeing him for the last 10 years or so. At one point, when I was bobbing up and down, he suggested a weight of about 230. He says, for your size, your build, your makeup, you're never going to be what the BMI charts would say is normal, which for me is like 175. I probably weighed 175 when I was 12 years old.
Right.
I'm never going to be that small. 225 is a good number. If everything stopped and I stayed at this weight, right now I have a 42-inch waist. That's the lowest I've had since in the last 40 years. I can buy clothes easily. I can find things that look good on me.
Yeah.
I sit in a plane seat. If everything stopped right now, given that my health is better, I feel better, I look good, I'm healthy, I would be happy to stay at this weight. That's the challenge. And this is why I keep thinking I'm going to have to take something, whether it's this Zepbound at this dose or something. These oral pills that they keep talking about sound really good to me. I hope that.
I agree.
I don't mind giving myself a shot, but boy, it sure would be easier if you can do a once-a-day pill to go along with the other once-a-day pills I'm already taking.
Yep.
So we'll see if in the course of the next year or so, I can lose another 10, 15, great. But I'm not going to go crazy trying to do it.
Well, take your shot, and I can take. I mean, we hear it all the time as people. Sometimes your body just needs to chill out and do what it wants to do, and then you'll lose weight again. Lorraine's a big believer in the cheeseburger theory of vary your calories a little bit and surprise your body, because your body gets really good at knowing how to do things if you're eating the same thing all the time.
I think there's some truth to that. I think there is, and so yeah, I mean that's something I can try. I'm not resigned to being this way, but if it happens, I'm okay with that. But yeah, it would be great to lose 5, 10, 15 more. I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
But I know realistically that what BMI calls a normal weight for a guy like me, it's just not going to happen.
Oh, I mean, according to BMI, I'm overweight, so I don't worry about BMI even a little bit. And people will come for me every once in a while and go, "You should really get further down." And I'm like, you know what? My doctor and I have had this conversation. We're in a great place. My numbers look good. All the stuff looks good. I'm fine.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, I've had so many conversations with my doctors, and they agree. It's crazy the some of these numbers. I mean, there's all kinds of people out there where the BMI chart numbers are exactly right and good for them, but for me, not going to be.
Yeah. Well, so if you had to give somebody any advice around these medications, what advice would you give?
Well, I've said a couple of times, the preparation that we went through for our bariatric surgery has really helped us with our journey now with GLP. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of the same high points, the techniques, the the tips that we learned from the doctors at that time. I mean, a lot of it was the same thing that we heard with Weight Watchers over the years. I would say the best thing you could do is educate yourself. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's all kinds of bogus facts and things. It's amazing to me still, there's people that really don't know how to read food labels and what
That's
they
the truth.
do. It's so easy to learn, these carb numbers. What does this mean? What should be your daily carb intake or protein intake for that matter? Once you know that, then you have a better idea of, well, this isn't something I should have, or this is a better choice. So your buying habits can change. Your what you make for yourself for your meals, you can change. Educate yourself. There's good information out there. Don't be afraid of these drugs. It affects everybody differently. Obviously, there's people that have really bad side effects, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have bad side effects.
That's
You
right.
won't know until you try. Like I said, in my case, it was negligible. I haven't had any problems whatsoever. A little bit of constipation, but there's all kinds of ways to get around that.
Yep.
That happened when we had the bariatric surgery. The doctors I was seeing at that time told us, if you mix in fiber powder in your drink, or these foods might be better than these others. There's ways to get around that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the least of our.
Minimize your side effects, and if it keeps you on the drugs longer because you didn't have bad side effects, and then that's a benefit for everybody.
Right. So yeah, the tips I would give are the same ones I've heard you say. Just keep taking that drug. Keep taking it. We've traveled all over the place, and we take those drugs with us. There's all kinds of ways to keep it cold. So just take it. Be on time every week. Stay with it. If a week goes by and you didn't lose anything, don't worry about it. Stay on it. Your body does all kinds of weird things.
That's the truth.
You can gain, you think you're doing everything right, and you gain a pound, and you pull your hair out and wonder how that happened. Then you turn around and have something you weren't supposed to eat, and you're down 2 pounds. How do you explain that? You can't. It just is what it is. You have to stick with it. It's a long term. This is not a quick fix. I know so many people in the forums are saying, I want to lose 30 pounds and then go to a wedding or something like that, and then I'm done. No, it doesn't work like that. Don't think of it as a diet. Think of it as a lifestyle change. You're finally correcting whatever it was that you've been doing wrong all these years with the help of this wonderful tool.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. Well, very good. Well, John, we appreciate you joining us for the show and learning about your life. It sounds like you and your wife are doing well, and you keep moving forward. So good for you.
We're really lucky. I say this so many times. We were lucky that we found each other. We clicked from the day we met, and I couldn't imagine a better partner. She's helped me out in so many ways. Her kids, my kids, they get along together. We've got so many grandkids between all of our 4 daughters. They're a blessing, and we've done this together. We're going to continue to do this together until the end.
And everybody out there is going to say, well, we want to meet your wife. So if your wife wants to come on, you let us know. We'd be happy to have you. We'll have both of you. We'll do multiple interviews. It doesn't matter. But it's great to meet another couple who, because we really attribute a lot of our success to doing this together. So it's nice to see that has worked for you guys as well.
Right. It makes everything so much easier. The discussions about what should we have for dinner just makes it so much easier. When we go out, when we travel, what are we going to eat? makes it so much easier when you're, in essence, in the same boat, doing the same thing and dealing with the same issues.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We have the conversation now, and I don't know, probably before GLP-1s, it would be minorly passive aggressive of, well, what do you want? Well, I don't know what I want, and no, but I don't want that kind of conversation. Now it's like neither one of us are really just, it doesn't matter, right? We're just like, oh, I'll find something. It's, it's not, it's,
Well, Karen's a great cook. We have a lot of chicken,
yeah,
lean pork, every now and then beef, but for the most part, it's chicken, pork, salmon. We love cod. We love different kinds of fish.
Well, it sounds
Here
like
in
almost,
Ohio, we're the walleye capital.
yeah.
And walleye is delicious. When you can find it at the store and you cook it the right way, it's delicious. We're famous for perch dishes on Saturday, the perch fry.
Mhm.
So we like fish. A lot of people don't like seafood, but we love it. And there's all kinds of foods out there that have high protein, taste great, fill you up, and you don't feel deprived. That's
No,
the
we're
best part.
absolutely in that place too. I tell people, they're like, I don't like it. I'm like, have you tried it? Or did you just decide you didn't like it before you tried it? Because
Right. I mean, you know, if
there's lots of great food out there.
you've spent your whole life doing things a certain way, and like anything in life, change is difficult. But unless you try something, you're not going to know for sure whether you like it or you don't.
Yep.
So give it a shot, see what happens. If you don't like it, oh well. But sometimes it's as easy as it's a food that you've always had, but you prepare it differently so that there's less fat or there's just simply less of it. You can still have spaghetti, just less of it.
That's why I love traveling, because you get to taste so many. I mean, you talked about Portugal. I mean, we ate so much fresh fish in Portugal. There was just, and fish I'd never had before. I don't even know, we couldn't even buy the fish they were selling here. But, and a lot of times they were just grilling it, and there was nothing fancy or fatty about it. It was just delicious. And you're like, well, how do I do this at home?
Right. Earlier, let's see, last year we went to Italy, and Italy is famous for seafood.
Yeah.
All along the coast, you could find shrimp, you could find mussels, you could find scallops, just octopus, all kinds of things. And so we had a lot of seafood. Croatia was the same. Earlier this year, we were in Germany and Austria visiting my relatives. So while we were there, we had smoked trout. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
Delicious. It helps if you like seafood, because seafood is probably the best bang for your buck, if you will. A lot of protein in a small amount, reasonable amount of food, tastes great. Love it.
Yeah, we're on the same page as you are. Well, very good, John. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so if you would like to join us and be on the Downsized Dish, we have a new application on our website. You can actually go to thedownsized.org and sign up. It just helps us manage the process a little bit better, because we get lots of people signing up. We don't want to accidentally miss anybody. While you're there, you can sign up for our email list. And of course, you can sign up for our 2026 cruise. John, you and the wife should come on the cruise. June 4th through the 8th. It'll be out of Miami, Florida. So check that out on the website as well. All right. Well, thank you very much, John, for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Make sure to like and subscribe. My name is Christopher Durham, and we are The Downsized.
Thanks.